So this is our first ever episode of OG Comfort Food in the Kitchen with Dom. Y'all already know what it's finna give because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I was supposed to do this a while ago. And I never did. So it's fine because we're here now. And what better time, what better place to be than the beginning of 2024? So, in a few minutes, we're going to get into our first meal, which will be Southern fried cabbage. So stay tuned, and the video will be coming right on up. Now, first thing first, to a pan, you want to add a little extra virgin olive oil, okay? Now, you don't need too much because, again, you're about to cook down your smoked sausage. And your smoked sausage carries its own, oils and things like that. So you don't want to ever put too much. Now, honestly, this is probably way too much. But it's okay because we're going to get it together. Now, when you put that in, what you really want to do this whole time is all you're doing is you're browning up your sausage. So this is browning up your sausage real good, okay? Now, I never want y'all to think that, this down here, that means it's burning, baby. No, that's flavor, okay? You won't need that come later on, okay? You're going to wish you had it. So with that being said, don't get rid of that. It's okay. When we get to the end and we get to deglazing, baby, we're going to scrape that right on up. Get our sausage, look at that, nice and brown. Okay, so now that we have browned our sausage, we're going to go ahead and remove it. But you don't want, you see that? That looks amazing. You don't want all that oil though. Okay, you want to remove it without the oil. So now what I like to do next is I like to deglaze my pan with a little bit of butter. Okay. Once that butter is down and it has simmered out a little bit, we're going to add our peppers and our onions, okay? You're going to add those in, and you're going to just mix those around a little bit. Turn your fire up a little bit. And let these, sweat a little bit. Let them cook down just a tad. You don't want to do too much. Remember that stuff I told you at the bottom? You see how we scraped that up? Like I said, that's flavor. Don't stress yourself out. It ain't that serious, okay? Alrighty. So now that this has been going for a little bit now, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of, this is my homemade green seasoning. So we're going to add, look at that. That looks amazing. We're going to add just about a tablespoon of that. Maybe a tablespoon and a half because, y'all be for real. And then we're going to let this cook up with our veggies. Fire up just a little bit more. While that's going, this is our freshly cleaned cabbage. So now this is cooking up. You want to add a little by little, add your cabbage in. You don't overcrowd your pan now. You could do more than one batch. But you put some in, and then you get at a minute. So now that our cabbage is, because little by little, the longer you leave it in this pan, it's going to start to sweat. And, when it sweats, it cooks down. So what we're going to do is, now, what I like to do is, I like to add a little bit of my seasonings in now, okay? Because we don't want to be here all day and night, and we ain't seasoned nothing yet. So we're going to use a little bit of garlic powder. A little bit of onion powder. Some fresh black cracked pepper. We're going to put a little bit of Lori seasoning salt. Okay, now I swear by this. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You could use adobo. You absolutely could. However, I do not. So, with that being said, girl, go ahead and add a little bit of Lori's. Now, Lori's is salty. So, if you know like I know, add a little bit and add some more later. Get some of this smoked paprika. Um, and your Tony's Creole seasoning. Now, to be honest with you, you don't need too much of the smoked paprika. Now, smoked paprika, you know how everybody else use parsley? I'm a smoked paprika girl. I top it with anything. What you do now is you want to toss this a little bit. Just a little bit, okay? Not too much. And then you want to go ahead and add a little more cabbage in. We're going to add some more. Now, you might not use all of it. I'm going to be honest with you. You might not. And you don't have to. I would say cook per your household. I use 1.5 onions. And I use 1.5 green peppers. And I got a very, very small organic cabbage, y'all. Because you ain't got to do too much. This is going, look at that cabbage. That looks amazing. So while this is going, what you want to do is, I get a little bit of butter. And I just throw like 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. About 3 tablespoons in there, okay? And let that melt down and cook inside. Now, little by little, this is going to cook down, okay? Now, I like to get a very little bit of chicken broth and just pour that at the bottom. Just a little bit. Because, again, this is southern fried cabbage. So, you want to be able, after a while, for all of that to cook out. Because, again, you got to remember, cabbage makes its own liquid. So, unless you make it steamed, you really don't need all that extra added liquid in there, because it's really not that deep. And you don't want soggy cabbage unless that's your preferred texture. You do not want soggy cabbage. Now, you don't have to do this, but I like to do this. I like to put 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, baby. Because, again, although we do like our cabbage savory, we also sometimes we want to have that little bit of sweetness going on. Like, we don't never want to deprive. And then you want to dump your sausage back in, okay? So now that this is coming down, we done added our sugar. We can let, this is honestly basically finished already, okay? We just gonna plate up. And we're going to see how we did, child. Make sure y'all are testing y'all food and adjust your seasonings as needed, okay? What may be good for me may not be good for you. You might like a little bit more seasoning or maybe a little bit less. I do think that if we have any diabetics or people who have health issues that cannot have a lot of salt, get a lot of salt-free things so that way you're controlling your salt content that's going inside of your cabbage, okay? And there you have it. We have our southern fried cabbage. Taste test. See how we did. Because it's going to eat every time.